Hi, this is Wishop, and this is your reading for the full moon in Cancer on December 25th, 2015, going through January 9th, 2016. And on the 10th of January, we'll have a new moon in Capricorn. So, what seems to be happening is that there is, with the full moon, obviously, we have lots of emotions, but because it's in Cancer, with home and family, and because of the kind of energies that seem to be around, even though there's a certain amount of oppositions happening in the sky and strange tension and all this kind of thing, the general takeaway seems to be that it's safe to be who you are, and it's safe to share that, and it's safe to put your heart on your sleeve a little bit. There have been some readings where I've had this sort of feeling, or the readings that are like, you know what, you're still figuring out what all these changes are for you. Maybe kind of keep it to yourself. But this doesn't feel like a time that you need to do that. This feels a time like a time where you can share with people and listen to people, but also a time where you need to reach with your heart first. So even if the people you're dealing with around this time of year at the holidays are difficult, or you don't see them that often, or that kind of thing, if you sort of lead heart first, you should be okay. I'm sorry, I'm swallowing a lot and I'm making funny noises. I've been running around like crazy, which I know a lot of you have been doing too, and I'm feeling much better, but I was slightly under the weather, and so I've got this cup of tea next to me, so we'll see if my voice holds out. Anyway, I thought it would be fun to do 3 Lenormand cards again, but then I'm going to also do 3 oracle cards for the full moon. So this is a new Lenormand card deck I got, and I wanted to share them with you because I think they're pretty awesome. They're called the Alternate Realities Lenormand, and they're by a designer named Jerry Totten, who I found on Etsy. And I know that a lot of you use mini decks for grand tableaus, and that's awesome. And I was actually looking for a mini deck when I found these. And I really like them, and let me show you why. I'm just going to pick a card at random here. Okay, so here's the Path card, if you can see this. So you see that at the bottom, it's got the name of the card and the playing card and the number. And then she also has an astrological equivalent, either the sign or the planet, or it's the numbers 1 through 12. So you can use that as an additional element. So let's say you're reading with another Lenormand card. You can actually do it like this. You can line these up as your houses, and you can just deal your second Lenormand deck right over the top, because all the information is printed in big letters on the lower border. So another interesting thing about this deck, which I'll show you, is that you can have these keywords if you like. You can choose not to have them, but I think they actually look kind of pretty in the background. So this one actually has keywords on it. Anyway, it's the Alternate Realities Lenormand, and I have been having a lot of fun since I got them. So, oops, well, I just got a text. You might have heard that. Okay. Okay, so let me flip these cards and let's see what we've got. Basically, what do we need to know sort of about, because Lenormand tends to be really nice and practical about how to play this full moon energy. Okay, so here's the first one. I'm going to just do this. I'm going to do this way. Interesting. I mean, I always think it's interesting, so that's probably pretty boring to hear, but this is kind of interesting. Okay, so we have the lily, the man, and a book. So, and what's really funny is that I have been seeing a lot of love readings near this full moon as well. Like even people who don't normally do love readings, it's coming up in their readings. And I feel like it's sort of coming up here too. It doesn't have to be romantic love, but it certainly could be, because the first thing that jumped into my head is that lily can have sexual connotations, but it can also have family connotations. It can also be an older gentleman, but it can also imply peace and serenity. So there's a man sort of coming from this place. So we could think of it as a pure-hearted place, but it could also be a place of sexual interest. It could be a place of wisdom. And that man has secrets to share with you, has knowledge to share with you. So where I've not only been seeing love readings, I've been seeing a lot of education and advancements and learning kind of readings. And so this is very interesting to me, because the lily, the sign for the lily is the moon in this deck. So it is the moon, and I associate the moon with the upper chakras, in fact, with the brow chakra. So where we talk about the lily having wisdom, we're talking about this far-seeing wisdom, this sort of high priestess kind of wisdom. And then we have the man, which can be, of course, any man. And it doesn't even have to be a man. It can be the active principle. So some action is being taken, and the source of that action is this wisdom, this background of wisdom, possibly ancient wisdom, because it can be from older people or your family. It could be that there's a family member who wants to talk to you about something, and you find out secrets about your family that make something very clear. You have a really good sharing time with someone from your family, and you realize things you never realized before. But it could also be someone new coming forward with information, but they're doing it out of this place that is designed to share with you. That the idea is we're bringing forth the secrets. Many of the book cards in Lenormand will have a closed book, but this is an open book. Okay, so this is coming from a place of wisdom, coming from a place of serenity, coming from a place of good intentions. There's information to be shared with you. If this were on the romantic or sexual side, then I would say coming from this place of these deep feelings and this deep magnetic attraction, this man or this action, right? Because it could be a woman who's taking action on these feelings, is going to share them or disclose them. So maybe this is you. Maybe you're the person who feels like, is it safe to take action? And just like I was saying, it's safe to put your heart on your sleeve right now. Maybe there is something that you'd like to discuss with someone. Maybe there is a secret that you'd like to disclose. Or maybe there's a new avenue of information you'd like to explore. But all this is being very highly sort of favored in this full moon. This full moon should feel good. And I know a lot of things haven't felt great lately. This full moon should feel good. It should feel harmonious. No matter where you are, you should feel this sense of emotional satisfaction and an ability to feel secure where you are. And from that security, you find the courage to take action on the things you want, or to have those conversations, or to look into those things that you haven't looked into. So let's get to the oracle cards. The 3 oracle cards, I wanted to pick one for what we should get rid of at the full moon, because full moons are often culminations. What's being illuminated, so this, is sort of the things that we're shining a light on in the full moon. And then the 3rd card is going to be, what's coming to fruition. Because I think of culmination with endings is like the fruit is rotten and it's time to get rid of it. It's time to, pull it off the tree or put it down the disposal or send it to the compost heap or wherever. But I think of, ripe fruit as being a full moon thing too. Like the full moon really starts that cycle of ripeness, which will then kind of wane and turn to rottenness, I have to say. And then we get back to the new moon where we're going to start blossoming all over again. So it's very interesting because the full moon is where we reach the greatest light of the moon, and then we start waning again. And the solstice, we just passed the winter solstice, which is the time of the longest night. So it's the least amount of sunlight on the 21st. And on the 25th, we hit the maximum amount of moonlight in this time period. So the moon is reaching its fullness and then going to wane. But the celebration of Yule is called the return of the light. We celebrate that every day a little bit the sun is going to stay longer in the sky. And we may also, depending on tradition or religion, be celebrating the birth of a sun king. You might be celebrating Christ's birth. You might be celebrating with bonfires. You might be celebrating with a Yule log. You might not be celebrating at all. But even if you're not celebrating, I hope that you're enjoying the sort of special atmosphere this time of year has. Forget the whole lines at the mall and all that stuff. There is a different kind of energy in the air. And I think the 25th, this full moon should feel good. So first, let's look at what we're going to get rid of. This is with the Brownies Oracle deck, and I will put more information about these in the description. Precaution. Oh, interesting. And look, we've got the big moon on there. Isn't that so great? Okay, and what is being... Let's see if I can keep these balanced. I just don't know. I really don't. Okay, and what's being illuminated? Balancing act. Great. And what is being brought to ripeness, whether we know about it or do not? Angel of Alchemy, Miracle. How do I love these cards? Okay. So I feel like we're seeing some of the similar themes again in these cards. Precaution, because this is what we're getting rid of. And we've got this moon, and we've got, these little brownies are feeding a dog, like basically sedating a dog. Sorry about that, but they are. Stop texting me. I'll get back to that in a minute. Anyway, the center oracle card is Balancing Act, and that's from Colette Baron-Reid's Enchanted Map deck. On the right is 21, the Angel of Alchemy, Miracle, which is from the Oracle of Shadows and Light by Lucy Cavendish. So what we're getting rid of is these precautions. What we're getting rid of, if you can see, they're very worried that the dog is going to attack them, and that's why they're feeding it drugs. So they're bad. They're bad. But the idea that somehow we always have to be afraid because something is out to get us, and we have to proceed very, very cautiously because we have to be afraid. And we might even feel like we have to be afraid of ourselves. Maybe if we think of the dog as sort of our animal nature, right? We have to be afraid of our wild side. This is saying, you know what? You've done so much work. Why don't you relax a little? And 11, the Balancing Act, where we've got this ship on the tightrope and all these beautiful rose petals falling from it. I think it's saying that with the sun and the moon balancing at this time of year, you can balance too. You don't have to be all one thing or all the other. You can have your animal nature, and you can have your rational, sensible side. You can manage this. And 11 is, of course, a very divine number. So I'm running out of time here, but let me hurry up. What is coming into fulfillment that we don't even know about or may not know about is a miracle from the Angel of Alchemy. I mean, it just doesn't get any nicer than that. So I hope that you have a great full moon in Cancer. Oh, these texts, they're going to drive me nuts. Anyway, I apologize for that, and I apologize for my voice, but I do not apologize for being here with you, and I'm very glad that you were here with me. So rock on with your bad selves.